Take control of our future, Black empowerment. We are so excited about this podcast, and we're glad to be one of the pioneers in this space of empowerment. And we know that many many people have taken this cause to heart and have done great feats and really making a difference in where we are. However, Dr. Claude Anderson, which we're reading the book Powernomics uh, during this podcast, so we'll be bringing a lot about that. But I've read his book prior, Black Labor, White Wealth, and it was really a game changer. I've always been pro Black, and I am still pro Black. I love everybody, but I'm more pro Black since reading that book because it was like my eyes were open and I was able to see why things are the way that they are and how it came about to be the way that they are. And so it was a game changer for me. And so I'm really committed now to see the plight of African Americans and people of African descent go to the next level of wealth, from poverty to wealth. And Dr. Claude Anderson points out in his book, Black Labor, White Wealth, that in the past 100 years, all the different movements that blacks have been a part of in America have not moved the needle of how many are of us that are impoverished. And so I've taken it on as a personal mission to change that uh, that needle, move that needle, change that number. And so I want to read an excerpt out of his book, Powernomics. And let's just read it and see what it says. It says, although slavery and Jim Crow is the title of this section is Race, Racism, and Wealth. Although slavery and Jim Crow semi-slavery ended generations ago, their legacies live on in various forms of structural racism. Contrary to popular notions about the concept of race, it is more than biological grouping. Race is about financial, political, and social currencies. It is a form of stored wealth and power. Whiteness has monetary value. Knowing the origin and nature of the value of race is the essential to any analysis of Black America's dilemma. It is important that Blacks know why the race problem refuses to die and how it is used to keep them a non-competitive and powerless group. The word race first appeared with the emergence of the slave practice in the 16th century. Records indicate the word race was selected because the various European slave trading nations were in a contest competing to profit from the mineral and human wealth of Africa. The prize for winning the race was the power to develop Western civilization. Using the wealth extracted out of Africa, Black people were non competitors in the race. They were the prizes, so they could neither play nor win. Whew! What a powerful, uh, just a paragraph right there. It's just a mouthful. I just finished watching on last night. I watched a movie called um, a what was it? A Woman King. Yeah, A Woman King, and it was an excellent movie, and it showed slavery starting in Africa and what was going on and how the manipulation was happening. And it showed that it was a race, okay? And it had a lot of implications. And I guess because I read Black Labor, White Wealth, I had a better understanding, and it may have had a deeper meaning than the average person that watched the movie. But having read that book and then watching the movie, it really just drove home the points that Dr. Claude Anderson brings out in his book, Black Labor, White Wealth. And so when you realize that the word race was given to the color of African Americans or Africans at the time because of the capitalization that was occurring and the I want to use this word, the raping of Africa for its resources and things of that nature, and bringing it to a place where they can um, monetize the color of our skin. And so it was a powerful movie, and to understand why we are where we are, we must really look at where we come from and why the things that were implemented, and how that it has been kept and continue to be perpetrated on the African Americans now in this country and the Africans around the globe. And some of the same mentalities that we had in Africa, we have right now. When we were enslaved, we were selling each other out, and we are still selling each other out and doing things to one another that shouldn't be. But because of our ignorance, because of our conditioning, because of our lack of awareness, we find ourselves being perpetrators of this same thing, right? And so we have to come out. We got to break free. We have to come to the realization that we are conditioned, and if we're going to change our status and the way that we are viewed, really, I don't care how we are viewed, right? If you got enough money, you don't care how people view you. You care how people treat you, but what they think about you really doesn't matter. And you can pay for what you want, right? Or you can create your own community to get what you want when you want it. And Black Labor, White Wealth talked about how that integration did a big disservice to us as a race. And I wrestle with that. I wrestle with that concept. I wrestle with it. But I come as I continue to think about it and ponder on it and look at our state that we're in and have pity on our people because of the state and the conditioning and the lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, and the system that we find ourselves in. So I see all of it playing a part, and I see that if we were able to stand on our own 2 feet, and we were able to not try to assimilate, but try to build within this nation our nation, okay, or even create a new nation, then we will find ourselves in a better position. We would find ourselves in a position of power where we came from. We came from a country where we were in power. We were kings. We were priests. We were heads of states, heads of communities, and now we find ourselves impoverished dearly, greatly. But we have royalty running through our blood. And so we need to get back to our roots. We need to get back to that royalty and find out where we got off the mission and got off the boat and reconnect with our roots and dominate the world, dominate its resources. And not in the sense of putting other people down, but just ruling like we rule, right? Controlling what we control and doing good for humanity. And so that's what we're in the game to win. We in the race to win. I'm going to read a few more uh, portions of this book. It says all the competing slave trading nations, religions, and ethnic groups benefited and were advantaged by black slavery. Slavery is the most often approached in social and moral terms. It is most often approached in social and moral terms. It is seldom discussed in terms of the primary incentive of undergirded the slave trade, wealth building. So we need to call a spade a spade. Instead of letting them dance around it, it was all about wealth, and we let them take the wealth out of it. And then we don't think about wealth, right? We don't realize that, hey, it's been about wealth. It's about wealth, and it will always be about wealth. And the thing is that this country, not just this country, but this world is full of wealth. It's enough wealth to go around, but you will still have poor because they don't have access to it. But you have to, but the wealthy should be generous in their with their wealth, and some are to a certain degree, right? But they're not really trying to aid you to come up and have your own wealth. They rather have you, and I'm just talking about some. They rather have you under their feet. But I'm ready to rise. I don't know about you. And this podcast is all about rising, going to the next level, creating generational wealth. And we have to start with our children, because some of us been, and we've been so conditioned that we don't even believe that it's possible for us to change the world that exists. But I believe it's possible. And just like the children of Israel, when they came out of Egypt, there were all the old heads. Well, majority, I wouldn't say all, but the majority of the old heads, they got swallowed up in the earth. Why? Because of their unbelief. And so if God wanted to take the children of Israel to the promised land, and he had to destroy the elders, the ones that didn't believe, which was the majority of them, and raise up a new generation that will believe him and be willing to fight for what they believe. See, when they got into the promised land, it wasn't peaches and cream and roses and so they had to fight. They had to fight to possess their land. And guess what? We're going to have to fight to possess our land, to possess wealth. And I'm not talking about physical fight. I'm talking because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, right? But it's with the mind. It's with our actions. It's with our thoughts. because thoughts produce feelings, and feelings produce actions, and actions produce results. And so if we can change our thinking, we can change our results. If we can start thinking wealth, we can build wealth and be wealthy. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. And so I'm ready. Are you ready? If you're ready, please like, share, subscribe, invite, comment. Let us hear from you. And stay tuned. Be blessed. I'm Just Antoine, and we'll see you at the top. Bye for now.